parliamentary, and I'll be seeking a meeting with him at the earliest opportunity to discuss matter with him. That's one. Two, I have a statement here. The past 72 hours have deepened the mystery and the national foreboding about the sacking of the Attorney General Tan Sri Abdul Ghani Patel and Deputy Prime Minister Muhyiddin and the Minister for Rural and Regional Development, Shafiq Abdal. The question that is looming ever bigger is whether the sackings represented a prelude to a multiple attack on the national institutions, including the press, Parliament. Just now we had the example of Parliament, the one MBD task force comprising the AGs, Chambers, Bank Negara Malaysia, MACC, and the police, to save the Prime Minister Dato Sri Najib from the one MBD scandal. The latest political hurricane started with the totally unacceptable reason for the sudden and summary sacking of Ghani as AG on Tuesday, who had served for nearly 13 years as the first legal officer of the Crown and 2 months short of retirement on reaching 60 years old on the ridiculous ground of health reasons. While Ghani's kidney problem is not an official secret and widely known, it has not incapacitated him from carrying out his duties as Attorney General. In recent weeks, in fact, Ghani was never more in command of his powers and resources as head of the multi-agency special task force into the 1MDB scandal, suspending banking accounts and starting the arrest of several persons connected to the 1MDB scandal. New AG Tan Sri Muhammad Apandi Ali has said that Ghani's termination as AG was in line with the federal constitution and that his rank was not reduced in any way. Malaysians do not appreciate euphemisms from the new AG or from the Chief Secretary of the government, Tan Sri Ali Hamzah, who was clearly less than truthful when he said on Tuesday morning that Ghani's termination as AG effectively July 27 was due to health reasons, as the health here clearly refers to Ghani's political health and not physical health, whether of the kidney or any other variety. Malaysia has now a world-renowned Prime Minister who cannot say a simple yes or no to the simple question whether 700 million US dollars or 2.6 billion ringgit was deposited into his personal bank accounts in M-Bank in March 2013, just before the dissolution of Parliament and the 13th general elections, and answer the subsequent questions: where the monies came from, where and to who the monies have gone to for the 13th general elections campaign, whether the ministers and deputy ministers, including the newly appointed ones, have received funding from Najib's personal accounts, and whether they will collectively and individually and collectively make such a public declaration. Is Malaysia to produce a new Attorney General who is similarly afflicted with the malady and the inability to say a simple yes or no to the question whether his predecessor Ghani Patel had been sacked as Attorney General, although the Prime Minister had charitably retained him as a judicial and legal advisor, as a legal service officer, until he undergoes mandatory retirement on October 26. If the new AG cannot be honest about whether Ghani Patel had been sacked as Attorney General after serving nearly 13 years as AG and only 2 months before his mandatory retirement at the age of 60, can Malaysians have any trust in Apandi? His statements, assurances and undertakings, or those made by his officers in the AG's chambers, so long as Apandi is Attorney General. The position has been aggravated with the Sarawak report publication of a draft of the charge sheet purportedly done by former AG Ghani Patel against the PM and another person. Sarawak report said the charge sheet against Najib in the final draft stages had led to Ghani's sacking on Monday, although his contract as AG was until October. The site said that Ghani was abruptly removed when he was on the brink of filing corruption charges against the Prime Minister, which will be unprecedented in the world. Sarawak report said the charge sheet against Najib was under Section 17A of MACC Report Act and an alternate charge under Section 409 of the Penal Code. And the first charge carries a penalty of up to 20 years in prison. You may have Najib sharing a cell with Anwar. When contacted last night about Sarawak report's exclusive article, Apandi declined to comment on the ground they did not know anything about the report. Late last night, the AG's chambers, head of prosecution division Tun Abdul Majid Tun Hamzah, tweeted a denial regarding the charge sheet. This morning, Apandi has launched into an offensive, firing both barrels, dismissing the purported draft as false, alleging that it pointed in the direction of a plot to topple the PM and warned of stern action against perpetrators. Apandi said, these alleged charge papers therefore indicate there is a conspiracy to topple a serving Prime Minister by criminalizing him, and that the methods include doctoring documents and criminal leakage. This plot represents a threat to Malaysia's democracy, and I will direct for all possible actions to be taken to investigate the matter. The full force of the law will be applied without exception on any that are found guilty, unquote. It will appear that there is a lengthy list of people who could be hauled in a dragnet against the so-called ring of conspirators in an international plot to criminalize Najib and to topple the elected PM, and who could be charged under Section 124 of the Penal Code for activities detrimental to parliamentary democracy, which could send persons convicted of the charge for up to 20 years in jail. But the denial by Apandi and the AG's chambers are grossly inadequate. Let Ghani appear. Let Ghani appear in the public to explain whether there is any basis in the Sarawak report exclusive about the purported charge sheet against the PM for corruption, as Ghani is still in the legal and judicial service. Surely Ghani has not disappeared into thin air since his sudden, summary and shocking sacking as AG on Tuesday morning, after he answered press phone inquiry to express his surprise and ignorance at the termination of his tenure. Surely Malaysia has not become a modern-day Stalinist Kremlin, where a person could suddenly become a non-person. A person could suddenly become a non-person and disappear into the gulag. Have you got a Malaysian gulag? Malaysians have a right to see and hear from the previous Attorney General Ghani, whether he was in the final drafting stage to charge the Prime Minister for corruption when he was suddenly and summarily sacked as Attorney General. All patriotic Malaysians are concerned that the country appears to be hurtling headlong towards the precipice of a failed state, which will signal a new dark age for Malaysia. And I will call, be it because of reason, good sense and patriotism to prevail, to prevent the descent of a new dark age. And I would like to direct this call specifically to the new Attorney General Apandi. Yeah, I just add one point. The British Prime Minister came yesterday and that went off. I just refer you to one or two British newspaper reports. This is the Telegraph. David Cameron challenges Malaysian PM on corruption. David Cameron challenges Malaysian PM Najib Razak on corruption. The Prime Minister urged Mr. Razak, to clean up his government and challenge the treatment of Anwar Ibrahim, the country's opposition leader, in the jail. That is the Telegraph. Here we have the Guardian, and this is the headline of the Guardian. That was the headline of the Telegraph. Here is the headline of the Guardian. David Cameron presses Malaysian PM on corruption claims. Najib Razak asked by Cameron about imprisonment of political opponents and allegations he misused 700 million of government money. I think this is the first time a Prime Minister of Malaysia having confronted by a foreign visitor about this corruption. And this is not only a shame to the Prime Minister of Malaysia, it's a shame to Malaysia. And you must hold my head in shame. Why? Why is it we have degenerated to this level, not only unable to become one of the top countries in terms of integrity, in terms of anti-corruption. You know, every year that Transparency International Corruption Index, we should be top 10, top 20. He said we are going lower and lower. And now we have a British Prime Minister coming to our capital and telling our Prime Minister, what is all this corruption? Clean up, shameful. And I think this is I don't think that Malaysia, 58 years of history, we have suffered such shame, indignity. And we are talking about protecting national name and national reputation. This is the biggest step of all. I would like to know, I called on the Prime Minister to explain what was his reply to Cameron. When Cameron told him, clean up, what is all this corruption? What was his reply? Because he was speaking not for himself, he was speaking on behalf of the country. The honor of the country demands an immediate answer from the Prime Minister. And I call on Najib to explain why is it that under his leadership, Malaysia has sunk so low that a foreign leader can come and talk about corruption in this country. This is a great shame and dishonor for the country, and for which I think he must answer and explain, and must not continue to hide and run.